It's Wednesday, July 25th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we get a legislative update from Senator Julian Cyr, meet Camas Beach Supervisor Delaney Drake, and discover Barnstable down at Bismore Park. Let's start with some news you can use. The Massachusetts Senate has passed Senate Bill 2609, which provides additional resources to fight the opioid crisis affecting the Commonwealth. Among the provisions included in the bill are increasing access to medication-assisted treatment, exploring tools to reduce harm and save lives, and expanding prevention and education efforts, and addressing the high rates of co-occurring conditions of substance abuse disorder and mental illness. In a statement, State Senator Julian Cyr says the bill, an act for prevention and access to appropriate care and treatment of addiction, is the result of extensive work researching evidence-based best practices and collaborating with healthcare researchers and clinicians, hospitals, behavioral health providers, law enforcement officials, patient advocates, and individuals with life experience to develop policies to address the crisis. The bill also creates a substance abuse prevention, education, and screening trust fund. The fund will help finance the expansion of school-based programs that educate children and young persons on alcohol and substance abuse misuse, and that identify and support children and young persons at risk for alcohol or substance misuse. Senator Julian Cyr stopped in the studio last week to round up all the budget items that have been passed in this late legislative session. We're almost at the end of the legislative season on Beacon Hill. It has been a long, hot summer. Senator Julian Cyr, welcome.
Good to be with you, Paula.
Yeah, hot. Lots of travel.
Lots going on. Actually, we were in session last night till 11:30 p.m. debating this pretty big piece of legislation around opioids, providing more toolkits, more tools in the toolkit for first responders and medical folks. But so that meant I got home, back home to the Outer Cape well after 1:30 a.m. But we're here again today, and it's sort of crunch time, and this is the it's a sprint to the end of the legislative session, which ends July 31st.
Okay,
so lots going on.
Let's give us the Cliff Note version, right? Because it's a summer day and it's beautiful out there. But first off, especially in light of another tragic murder of a police officer, training funds have made it through.
Yep. So, this has been a really hard year for the men and women who serve in blue in the Commonwealth, certainly, here on the Cape, now in Weymouth. So in April, I introduced legislation to establish a stable funding stream for municipal police training, something that actually the Police Chiefs Association and others have been lobbying for years. We were able to get it passed in the Senate in April. The Senate passed it again in May. We got the House to take it up. And then just this week, on Wednesday, the Senate and the House both concurred, and we sent a bill to the governor's desk. So this provides a stable funding stream, up to $10 million annually for municipal police training. We had been appropriating about $4 million annually out of the general fund, and this is going to come through a $2 fee, a surcharge on rental cars. So you rent a rental car for a day, you rent it for a month, it's $2. It goes to municipal police training. This is akin to how we fund training for municipal firefighters. Right. So there's been a long time surcharge on homeowners insurance, a small percentage. That funds the Barnstable County fire training, it funds other fire training. And so this really puts municipal police on parity. Really important, I think, we're asking police to do more and more. Not just sort of traditional law enforcement, traditional traffic, but there are first responders in the opioid epidemic. They're essentially sort of first respond social workers in our community. Yes. You look at the work that the Community Impact Unit in Barnstable has been doing, and so this really is going to provide for a whole host of training on everything from, first aid, school resource officers, implicit bias. So we're really sort of putting our money where our mouth is and being like, all right, we're asking you to do a lot. We know you're doing a lot. Both chambers passed it unanimously. It's on the governor's desk, and I have don't foresee him not signing it.
Right.
So it's a big deal, and it's something that they've been pushing for quite a long time, was held up in Beacon Hill for quite a long time. So I'm proud that we could have gotten it done.
Fantastic. I know our Chief of Police, Sonneman, is also very pleased that it has passed. $42 billion.
So it's a 41.88 billion.
Okay.
And actually, a budget compromise was reached between the House and the Senate. We were a little delayed on this, but the good news, I think, given revenue that we've had in the state, this is a budget that funds a whole host of really critical priorities, but is also pretty fiscally responsible. We're putting another $350 million in our stabilization fund. That's that rainy day fund for when we do have a recession. So now we're going to have $2 billion in that fund. That's really good news for safeguarding critical programs when we have a recession.
Right.
Rating agencies are going to love it. And then a whole host of priorities. Chapter 70 funding is funded at the highest level ever. The highest level ever for regional school transportation.
Right.
Less important for Barnstable, but a big deal for DY, big deal for Monomoy and Nauset. And then actually that special ed circuit breaker, so the reimbursement for special ed, that's now funded at 75%. The first time we've reimbursed schools for special ed to 75% of those costs. Another big win. $88 million for regional transit authorities, including CCRTA here on the Cape. And a whole host of other priorities, in addition to big policy priorities that we were able to get done. Glad to walk you through all of them if we have time. But
right. Well, I guess the dollar amount, $640,000 is coming to Cape Cod. A significant portion of that is dispersed throughout the city.
Yep.
Like you said, school funding has not been on parity for years and years and years, and those budgets they do so much with less.
Yeah.
So now there's some of those things that maybe there are going to be some maker spaces in our schools.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
we've still got a ways to go to meet the full commitment of the Foundation Budget Review Commission. But certainly the Senate's really led on this. I think it's really critically important. And then a whole host of other things. Worked with Duffy and Hack and others to fund tenancy preservation. There's a chunk of money, $45,000 to the Barnstable Police Department to begin to prepare for how do we have outreach around when we have these really intense storms, right? Those chronically homeless people, how do you get more resources? That's going to the police. $20,000 to expand Narcan access here on the Cape, $50,000 to do education in schools around the opioid epidemic, so a big investment there. And then some important protections for Pilgrim. Small Business Technical Assistance Program, which supports emerging businesses under 20 employees. That's funded at the highest level ever. So we're doing some good stuff.
Right. It's not all just backtracking. We're literally, these are initiative types of funding.
Yep.
Coastal resiliency is also a big thing that's in there right now.
Yeah, well,
too.
that's in an environmental bond bill,
Right.
that both chambers took up. We're working to reconcile those. Another really big thing that came out of the budget was relief for small businesses around this new surcharge on health insurance that the Baker administration had implemented. This became a real headache for seasonal businesses, small businesses, part of the growing pains around health insurance coverage, and was really unfair, right? Around a restaurant or a nonprofit like Capabilities getting a bill, April 1st for unexpected bill for $26,000 or $13,000 and having to pay it April 30th. Under the budget, the administration is going to be directed in law to develop a waiver program for that for seasonal businesses, smaller businesses, nonprofits like that. So some big wins that really help businesses and organizations here on the Cape.
Right. And when we talk about the budget process, I mean, this is, we've been operating on this 1 month kind of thing, so you guys can get everything passed by the end of July now. So you've made your date at this point in time. A little of the thing that struck me was that there was some money for Calmer Choice. And as we talk about opioid epidemics, and we talk about how do we stop children from actually getting to that point that they're taking drugs. The Calmer Choice money is huge. It's now proven that mindfulness helps people, child or not, an adult, cope with those anxieties and those stresses.
Yeah, exactly. I think increasing the opioid epidemic, we're learning that, all right, money that is put in and resources put in around giving young people resiliency really is going to help people from relying on drugs, particularly whether it's opioids in particular, which really, especially the synthetic opioids, really rewire the brain, right? And so that's going to go a big way there. In this bill that we took up last night, we do a lot around medically assisted treatment. a lot around really harm reduction, a lot around funneling more resources to schools. We've got a long ways to go here. You know, and you look at the epidemic here on the Cape, we're disproportionately impacted by that. But I think these are, you know, steps in moving to really continue to fight this epidemic.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for fighting for us.
You're so welcome. It's good to fight with you. Yeah.
There you go. Anything else that you want to let our
Gosh,
viewers
I mean,
know?
there's so much that's coming out. We passed, you know, last month there was a capital bond project that came out. Some money's going to come, hopefully, for the Armory project, which is a big deal for the town. Right. In the environmental bond bill we took up, there's monies both for doing some restoration here in Hyannis Harbor, and also along Commerce Way in Barnstable Village and Blish Point. Not just Blish Point, the outer part, but really that marsh piece that comes in there. Yep. So that's being reconciled, but we're optimistic that we're going to get those resources, which is significant for the town.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Julian.
Always good to be here. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's not just the water and fun in the sun that makes Barnstable's beaches special. It's the people. Meet Delaney Drake, the Barnstable Recreation Supervisor for Calmus Beach, a passionate young woman with a permanent smile and a love for the ocean. Delaney Drake, beach supervisor at Calmus, is more than just a beach supervisor. We got a hot tip that she does so much here at the beach for kids as well as adults. Delaney,
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So we got a hot tip from our town manager that you create all sorts of different collages and do a lot of arts and crafts kind of things to make people's day here at Calmus. Tell us a little bit about some of the collages that you've created here at Calmus.
Okay, sure, yeah. So I've made a couple of different ones. I have kind of one side of the bathhouse is educational and one side is more like conservation messages. The first one I started with was actually a balloon exhibit. We were picking trash on the front beach. Well, every day we pick trash on the front beach ever since I was a lifeguard. And we found so many balloons at Calmus. I don't really know why it is, like the currents, the wind, it's really windy here. So, but we find tons of those little strings, the little ribbons, and sometimes they have balloons on them, sometimes they don't. So I told my lifeguards, save all your balloons this week. We're making a display. And I got a shadow box. And I just put them all in it, and I made like a little sign that kind of explains why balloons are bad for the environment. And then after that one, I started with a shell exhibit just because I was curious about all the different like shells and organisms, and I started doing some research like just for myself. So there's like some shell shadow displays, and then there's a little like touch exhibit where kids can like pick up the shells and see what they found. Yeah, and I have a couple others too.
So you had an exhibit of cigarette butts, which I thought was interesting since Barnstable doesn't allow smoking on the beach, but it is in the parking lot. Tell us a little bit about why that's important and why you made that collage.
Yeah, okay, so cigarettes are the worst. I find them everywhere for years. I have found so many, the amount of cigarette butts we've picked up at Calmus, it's crazy. Ever since I was a lifeguard, you know, you can pick 8 hours a day and there will still be cigarette butts. Even by the time you're, you know, at some point someone's gonna be throwing cigarette butts. But in the beginning of the season this year, I was picking up trash one day and I just found so many. And I said, okay, I'm saving these. And my lifeguards were just laughing at me, you know, here I am, I like had my gloves on. I was like taking all the cigarette butts into one bucket, and I got shadow boxes. And I just like glued them all on, and we counted 657 that I picked up in a single day. But yeah, so we don't allow it on the beaches, but we allow it in the parking lot. But I mean, they kind of fly everywhere with the like heavy winds and everything. But yeah, it was so many.
When you have done these exhibits, whether it's on the conservation side and education side for the little animals of the sea or the cigarette butts, when people stop and look at those exhibits, what are you hoping they take away from those?
Honestly, anything. I mean, whether it's their favorite little sea animal, you know, and they finally know what it is. Like, I mean, I've lived here for so long, and I had no idea about the whelk egg cases. I don't know, the little curly kind of brown, like they kind of look like scalloped potatoes in my opinion. But yesterday I was like talking to a patron, and I was telling him how like if you open up one of those little the dried out little scalloped potatoes, inside is like a perfect little tiny whelk. It's like the size of like 4 grains of sand. You know, it's tiny, but I don't know. It's just like I feel like there's just so much magic out there, and like we don't know so much. Some of the patrons, every now and then I'll hear little things like this beach is like a museum, or you know, just little things like that, and it just makes my day because I don't know if they can take away something, learn something, or maybe next time suggest something other than a balloon release, or you know, throw out their cigarette butt if they choose to smoke. You know, just or put it away responsibly. You know. I don't know.
And we noticed that you have a kindness garden here as well. Tell us a little bit of why you started that.
Oh, I just love it. You know, it's just, you know, the whole idea is so great. Like a positive message can really just impact someone's life, you know? So yeah, we started this last year in the summer, and I don't know, every now and then, actually, you probably remember last summer it was really rainy. So a lot of the times, like the lifeguards, if we had like, you know, a bunch of extra staff, we'd just be like making little kindness rocks. I just think it's so nice. I don't know. Every now and then, like people will just be all around here, kind of like looking at them. Kids will sit over here, and it's just fun.
And you talk about a little bit about the lifeguards. There's a lot of people that make the beach run.
Oh,
And one of the things that we just noticed in one of your rooms was the smile buckets that were there. What's that all about?
Yeah, so we have little mailboxes here at Calmus. It's called Send a Smile, and it's just kind of a way to say thank you, you know, or like, I really appreciated this, or any little thing, or like, you did such a great job today. We just write little positive messages to each other, and it makes each other, I don't know, work better as a team, you know, and get to know each other better. And I don't know, when you do something really good, it's nice to feel acknowledged, you know. It's just, I don't know, so
It is. Yeah. And we love all of what you've done at Calmus, Delaney.
Yeah.
We wish you the best in grad school, headed off, I'm sure, probably mid-August or so.
Exactly.
So have a wonderful year, and we'll see you back here maybe next summer.
Thank you, I hope so. Thank you, guys.
The Town of Barnstable's Discover Barnstable program is in full swing this summer, with interactive events scheduled every Monday and Thursday at Bismore Park in Hyannis. This year's participants include officials from the Barnstable Municipal Airport, village libraries, public works, natural resources, senior centers, golf, recreation, and animal control. We learn more from Liz Hartsgrove, Assistant Director for Planning and Development. We're ready to discover Barnstable. With me today, Elizabeth Hartsgrove, Assistant Director for Planning and Development. Well, that's a new title, Elizabeth.
It is. Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
So, but it really works. Assistant
Yeah.
Director for Planning and Development, a lot of what you do is really in the development and planning in the town of Barnstable.
It does, and I always have been connected in some way to them, so it just made sense. I work with the arts and cultural, economic development, planning, all of those little components, and so it just was a nice fit for me to go in there. So,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
But we're really here to discover Barnstable.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the coolest programs that comes out of the town, and it's available for everyone and starts in just another week or so.
Yeah, it does. It's the second year. We got rave reviews last year, and it was a sense of, you know, we're really into educating people about what services and programs we provide, and this was that type of baby. It was perfect. It's a way for us to give back and educate people about what kind of opportunities are available to them, and through each of the departments and divisions, and make them learn a little bit more about not just all the rules and regulations or, you know, the negative components, but there's a lot of positives that we do in our community on a daily basis, and there's so many little different programs within each department or division that they're not really aware of. So this is an opportunity for town employees to embrace the community and show all these positive little things that we do.
Well, that's great. So these happen, I think, twice a month, you said, right?
It's actually twice a week.
Twice a week.
Twice a week in July and August. So Monday mornings from 10:30 to 11:30, and then Thursday afternoons from 4:30 to 5:30. And it's every Monday and Thursday, July and August. So, and we have a wide range of, it's definitely much more popular this year with even the departments internally. So I did not have any issues with filling up the whole, and I actually have a wait list for people. Yeah, so we have 3 new programs that are starting this year. The airport is joining us. The recycling division
Excellent.
with the transfer station, And then we have animal control is joining us this year. So in addition to the ranger talks that we've had with wildlife or the turtle talks, we had senior services, we had recreation, we have just a slew of them. So it's really wonderful. I'm very excited.
So where are these talks held?
They are held down at Bismore Park,
Okay.
near the Welcome Center. It's over by the utility box that has the wrap of welcome in 30 different languages, and it's under a nice shady tree, and we have a picnic table and chairs there available, and it's family fun activities open to anyone, residents, guests, anybody, and it's all free. So the parking's available at Town Hall here, and then you can walk down, or if you want to pay for parking, it's available at Bismore Park.
Okay. So walk us through a little bit of what folks are going to learn. You know, having been here for the town of Barnstable for now 90 days, there is just so much to learn about what the town does.
Yeah.
So these at Bismore Park are really designed to give you a little bit of a deep dive into how we do things here at the town level.
Yeah, it really dives into something that people are not expecting. That's really what the key is. For example, the senior services. The senior center, not all programs there are just for seniors. Oh. We had last year a hula hoop class, and it was open to the general public. People can go and take yoga classes there. So it's not necessarily just a senior center. It's more of a community center, really, when it comes down to it. Right. And so this year, we're artist who is there at the senior center, who's a regular, she's going to be giving art classes there for the whole family. So it's multi-generational, and that's really the purpose of our community, and the quality of life. Our mission statement is for everyone, not just for a specific age group or not. So the senior service one is a great example of that. Recycling program, there's new regulations going into place on how to separate your cans and things. Well, we're going to be doing an art project with the guys from the transfer station. They're going to be coming down there and being with the kids, and they're going to be creating art with recycled material that was obtained at the transfer station, in ways that kids can actually use the materials instead of going over and using them and just dumping them, basically, and just handing them off to the town. Is how can we reuse and repurpose and recycle things? So in the airport, another one, we have the Cape Cod Coffee is there. So they're going to be joining the airport with different types of the airlines. They're going to be showing up. We're going to have a flight simulator there. We're going to have all different arts and crafts, word searches, and fun things so that people can get to know the airport and understand that it's open to anyone to go visit or even use as a transportation mode.
Excellent. Yeah. So Mondays and Thursdays every week.
Yeah, starting July 9th.
Starting in July. Yeah. I see you've got golf on that list.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if every resident knows that we have probably the two best municipal golf courses in the entire state right here in the town of Barnstable.
We do, and we have classes available. And one of the instructors is actually going to be giving little, putting demonstrations and stuff, and helping people with techniques during that. So, yeah, it's available. Again, it's available not just to the residents, but to our visitors and our non-residents here. So it's a wonderful service. I'm so excited that we're in our year 2 of this program.
Excellent. Anything else you want to tell folks about these?
No, it's wonderful. It's free. It's family, and it's at Bismore Park. What more could you want? Really?
Sure. Time again?
It is on Mondays from 10:30 to 11:30, and then on Thursdays from 4:30 to 5:30. And we have a giant poster banner down at Bismore of the July schedule currently right now. So if you're walking down there and you just want to take a look, the schedule is also available online and here at Town Hall, down at the Welcome Center. Anybody can pick up a brochure, and again, open to anyone, including any Cape resident. We've had a lot of people even last year that came from out of town that were residents from other communities that wanted to participate. So we just welcome everyone.
Of course, at the Welcome Center.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Paula.
Put this event on your calendar for Friday. Please join the Korean War Veterans Association of the Cape and Islands and the town of Barnstable for We Remember the Forgotten War, 1950 to 1953, with special guest Korean Consul General Kim Young-hun on Friday, July 27th at 10 a.m. at Veterans Beach, 480 Ocean Street, Hyannis. What is the significance of July 27th and 10 a.m.? The Armistice Agreement for the restoration of the South Korean state was signed on July 27, 1953, formally ending the war in Korea. North and South Korea remain separate and occupy almost the same territory they had when the war began. The Korean War, which began on June 25, 1950, when the North Koreans invaded South Korea, officially ended on July 27, 1953, 10 a.m., which is the time in the Far East when the armistice was signed, with the ceasefire going into effect at 10 p.m. Here is a look at the meeting schedule for boards, commissions, and committees. Comments, suggestions, accolades? Connect with us on Facebook, email us, or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you.